Hello, this is Idodmg, and welcome back to the channel. In this Sanctum Breach video, we have Sam Keats with us here on stream to talk everything about his adventure with Kickstarter and the game, and I'm excited to jump in. I hope you guys enjoy the video. So what's up, Sam? How you doing?
Yeah, good. um, Glad Kickstarter's over. It was stressful because up until right up until the last day, there wasn't enough funds, so I didn't think it was going to make it, but then it did. So
Yeah, it came really
yeah,
down to the wire, didn't it?
yeah, I've been told that's more often than not that's how it goes, but when you're actually doing it yourself, it's not fun.
Right, yeah. Did you lose any sleep over that?
Yeah, but
I know I
it was
would
good
have.
though because so I was just gonna say it was good because the day it was ending, well, on a few days beforehand, I was traveling back home, so
Right.
we were in hotels and stuff as well. So I didn't really I couldn't really obsess over it because I was doing other stuff. So
Right? Oh my, dude, this is all new. Look at the mini map. I don't even know where to go.
oh yeah, yeah, it's been a while in that since you
This is
played.
all new. Oh my gosh. So, what's up with the UI? Why does it look different? What happened? Why does it look amazing
Um,
now?
yeah, one of the community members who's also a indie dev, he said that he'd help me out with the UI, so we redone the whole thing.
That is awesome. How
It's brand new.
how has that gone? Like, has it been super smooth? Like, does it take a while? I have no idea how
Yeah,
like implementing all that works.
no, no, it's easy. Once is that's the thing with art, like UIs, environments, whatever it is. Once you've got the basic code and setup in place, it's really easy to change things out. It doesn't take long at all.
Awesome. Well, I like it. First impressions, keep it up. Like all this is new. If you guys saw the old interview from what like 2 months ago, all changed from that.
Yeah.
And we have these are elites. That's new too, right? Kind of.
Yeah, that was last patch, I believe. I've done 4 or 5 mini patches throughout Kickstarter as well, so it's kind of all blurred into one.
Right, that reminds
Yeah,
me of something. So there's a free demo, isn't that true, on the Steam page?
yep, yeah,
And you added each act each week, all during Kickstarter, right? Because it was a 30-day
yeah.
thing.
And I fixed bugs and revamped the previous act each week. So that's still up for people to play. You can play through all 4 story acts. It's only endgame that's walked away you have to pay for.
So right now, for free, they can play through all of the story.
Yep, and it'll stay like that forever.
Do it, guys. Go do it, or just buy the game too. You know.
Yeah,
What? Okay. Oh, go ahead.
it's a good time to it's a good time to buy it as well because I'll be increasing the price next month because we're going into beta. So
So what does beta mean? What's all going to be new? What can we
um,
expect?
so I'm spending the majority of this patch just fixing bugs and just polishing the content as much as I can. Because alpha is kind of about bug fixing and introducing new stuff, and then beta is just about adding to that polished content.
Awesome. Can we expect any more like new classes or any new things like that?
I've got a roadmap up. I'll post a link to that in the YouTube video. But there's 3 new classes coming. About 30 new endgame zones for each mode. So I'm aiming to have about 1,000 zones in total because there's 3 difficulties per zone. Uh, New endgame mode, the crafting dungeon, so that'll be huge as well. That'll be endless alongside the endless abyss, obviously. Um, yeah, loads of unique sets. It's really just about expanding upon systems that were already in the game. I'll be expanding all the skill trees as well. So instead of 4 major nodes, there'll be 8. There'll be 3 pinnacle nodes per skill as well. I'll be adding skill trees to the class mastery skills and to the universal skills as well. And I'll also be expanding the universal skill pool.
I
So
gotcha.
just lots of content. There'll also be like leaderboards and stuff like that as well. So
Ooh, that's what I've been waiting for. So what
yeah,
how long is beta gonna last? You probably don't know the answer to that, do you?
my conservative response is I plan on full release 9th of December 2021 because then it would have been on Steam for 2 years at that point, so it'd be quite sort of nice if I could do full release then. But we'll see. We'll see how it
Okay,
goes.
okay, so about another year.
Yeah, that's what I'm aiming
Okay.
for.
Let me try to not die on this boss. Oh no.
You should be fine. Act one's easy. You got this.
Don't embarrass me. um yes, okay. Nothing in chat. Okay. What there were some other questions we were trying to think of. Which one was the release date, which you already answered. Is the price going to go up at all with the release, or do you think you'll keep it as is?
Yeah. No,
Do you,
so at the moment it's £10.
it's very
It'll go
low.
up to £15 in beta and then 20-25 on full release. I'm not
Awesome.
100% sure on prices yet, but I want to keep it on the low end. I don't want to ever like price people out of being able to buy it. I don't understand why um, game companies are suddenly charging like 50, 60 quid for a game. It's just
Right.
seems insane to me.
Well, the fact that you can already play the whole story free is awesome too. So you mentioned the crafting dungeon. Those are crafting in the game currently, or is this just coming later? What's that going to look like?
Yeah. So there's a bit of crafting in at the moment. So you can craft weapons throughout the story, and then in endgame they start dropping as items. The reason I've done this is because I wanted weapons to always be readily available. Because if you're leveling as a melee character and you don't find a good weapon, it just becomes a nightmare. So I wanted it to be smooth throughout the process. Um, Outside of that, you can craft unique items using relics, which are found from target farming bosses. And Um, I'm just going to expand upon that basically throughout beta. So I'll just keep adding a few more recipes for uniques, a couple of different weapons, that kind of thing. But the bulk of the crafting will be done in the crafting dungeon.
That will be exciting. I definitely like crafting. I forgot to actually craft my weapon on this dude, so thanks for the reminder. And the inventory is bigger now too, right?
Yeah, yeah, I've reduced the size on the item icons, so you've got a lot more space to play around with.
Oh, when you moved these, this looks a lot nicer too. You can actually, because before they were below and they were like super tiny and kind of hard to see. I like that.
Yeah, I'll be adding different buttons as well for selling all common items or selling all magic items, selling all rare items, so you don't have to sell everything at once.
Saw that on the Discord. That'll be nice. Do you plan to do like a locking feature, like if I have a legendary I want to lock
Yeah,
in or something?
yeah, I'll have a lock-in feature, and I'll also have a crafting inventory. So you've got two separate inventories. So if you're saving up to craft a weapon, you can put your items in there, so they're ready to go, and
Awesome.
still use the saddle features.
And the equipped is now lit up, so you don't have to just know that it's on the right side. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah, it's just quality of life stuff, really. That's something I'm focusing a lot on this patch. Big fixes and quality of life. There's not going to be too much content added. I plan on adding a bit more in-game content. I've reworked the endless abyss system as well, so from beta onwards, it will actually be endless. There won't be flaws, and then I'm waiting to add more. So you'll be able to try and push as far as you can.
Okay, are you just gonna keep it where it's like what is it, every 5 floors there's a boss?
No, so I'm I'm ditching the bosses. I'm just going to make it so that it's 13 randomized zones taken from the story. You won't know which one you're getting, and then there'll be bosses contained within that, but they'll be a bit harder than they are currently. So that will kind of be like your benchmark for whether or not you can carry on.
That'll be like your competitive, like if you want to compare with your buddy, like I
Yeah,
made it to
yeah,
floor
that on crafting
50.
dungeon.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all end game is going to be competitive because I don't expect many people to be able to beat the tier 10 encounters. I think
Right.
sort of by tier 5, tier 6, people will start falling off and realizing their build shit and need to go back to the drawing board. Um, but yeah, I think Endless Abyss, Crafting Dungeon, and then sort of tier 10, they're kind of like the elite 1% sort of player base goals.
Right. So, since you know the game better than anyone else, what are some pro tips to not make your build shit? Because there's immunity in the game, right?
Yeah, yeah. Ever since Kickstarter, well, it was like last week really. Had a lot of people show up that are really on it, like playing 24/7, and they've pushed way harder than I thought they would. It's been great though. They found so many bugs and stuff, so it's been really helpful. I've actually got like a massive backlog of bugs that I need to fix at the moment because they've been finding so much stuff. It's good though because it's exactly what I wanted, so I could polish it as much as possible, ready for beta. But yeah, my pro tip to get good: defensive tree is your friend. Don't be fooled into going fully offensive because you're gonna die.
Good advice. Congratulations on the surge of players. I bet you're just like so much happier and like has the
Yeah,
girlfriend noticed a change in you at all? Like I would be
yeah.
just bouncing off the walls freaking out, dude. Like congratulations big time. I mean, it's just
Thanks.
incredible.
It is good. It's just it's kind of like one of those things. It's nice to have that sort of like validation because you work on a game for so long before anyone even plays it. Um, and you're spending so many hours, sleepless nights trying to get things working, and you show it to people, and they're like, "Oh, it looks shit." Like they don't understand everything that goes into it behind the scenes. So yeah,
Right.
there's a good feeling when people say like, "Oh, I've played 24 hours in the last 30 hours." Like I haven't slept. I've just been playing the game. I'm like, nice. I've made you an addict. but but that's the goal.
Yeah. That is so awesome, man. I because when did it came out early access? It was December 2019. So we're like 8 months into this now. You've succeeded at Kickstarter. I just anyway, I could go on about how happy I am to see the game succeed in that way.
Yeah, I suppose as well for someone like yourself who's played it from the start of alpha, like you can notice a massive change because a lot of like the visuals have obviously changed, but the polish of code as well. Like it's not something that players necessarily see, but I suppose you can feel as a player like the quality, like performance improvements and that kind of thing, and how you just feel like more like you're in a proper game. That's the only way I can really describe it. Like when I played it myself, at the start of alpha, I didn't really feel like I was playing a proper game. I knew it was like my game and it was sort of like rough. But now when I play it, I can kind of get lost in the fact that I'm actually playing an ARPG. I need to like focus on developing my character and stuff. So
Right. So more of like you mean like in terms of like combat fluidity or just
yeah,
builds?
yeah, it's kind of hard to pinpoint. It's just everything really. I think it's like the passive trees, the skill trees, the items. Like it's just you're so focused on well, I'm so focused on actually playing the game, and like finding these items and building my character like I would in another ARPG
Right.
that I kind of like forget that I'm actually meant to be testing my game and trying to find bugs and stuff.
Right. Yeah, I gotta say, because I first started playing when I played the Elementalist, because you did a combat overhaul a few months back, right? So when
Yeah,
I first
1.6, I think.
Yeah, when I first started playing the this character I'm playing right now after that patch, there was a little bit of things that I had noticed, and I can tell you've made some changes. It feels a lot better now.
Yeah, I mean it's far from done. Like it's still alpha, but it's getting there. I still want to polish the animation somewhat. I've done a bit of that today actually with the Spellblade. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Because
it's
Spellblade's hella
getting there.
weak, right?
Pardon?
Spellblade is super weak right now, right?
Not not too bad. It's definitely the weakest class, but you can get the job done with it. It's just I think it's more of an experienced player's class because it is like squishy. But once you know what you're doing, what enemies to avoid, that kind of thing, you can lay down some good damage with it. It's really high mobility as well, especially the Blade Master class mastery.
Gotcha.
So it's doable, but I wouldn't recommend it for a new player.
What's the most new
Um,
player friendly class then?
Hex Lord, just go poison over, chill
This is
out.
no all five because you can put the same copy of the skill on your bar 5 times like I've done. Without
Yeah.
sharing the cooldown. Love that.
Just get to Dome and Port, spam Poison Nova on the training dummy, get it to level 20, and then you'll just face roll everything.
Oh, what are these fire novas? Is this a new effect? What is this? I'm scared.
Yeah, it's a rare mod affix.
Okay, that is new.
Um, yeah, I'm going to be adding a bunch more of them, like a Lightning One, Chaos One, all that sort of thing. And then whenever I add a new mechanic to the game, I never want to go overboard with it and add like too much at once because I want players to kind of get used to it a little bit first before I go nuts on the variety. So
Yeah, because
at the
first.
moment, there's, I think it's 6 affixes that enemies can roll. But I'm going to increase that to about 15, 20.
And they have increased drop rates on them, hopefully.
Yeah, increased loot, increased XP, increased gold.
Yeah, because when they were first iterated, which would have been the last time I probably played, was they just had more health, I think.
Yeah, that is still an affix, but that was just like sort of testing one because I think that was on the testing branch that you played that.
I'm so pumped to see all the other ones. So another thing, we were talking a little bit about Spellblade, and it popped like a little light bulb in my head of, because with that class you can kind of dodge around and teleport, and you can fall off the side of the map, and you've decided to change that mechanic after 8 months. Why'd you change your mind? What's going on?
Sorry, just quickly go to chat and then I'll answer that. Yeah, I'm not gonna have reflect in the game. I hate reflect as well. Like, it's not happening. Don't worry. So with the invisible walls, I think it's a cool mechanic. Because it's always weird to me when you're playing an ARPG, like especially in Path Exile, like the ledge, like I always wanted to fall off of it. I don't know why, but when I was running along it, and it always just felt strange to me that I was like safe. Um, so I thought it'd be really cool to sort of like mimic that, but have it so that you can fall off. There is that danger, like if you misuse a blink, then you will fall and you will die. But in practice, it was shit. It didn't feel good. It just felt punishing. Um, which is sometimes okay, but I feel like because the game was so unpolished as well, it's like sometimes teleports wouldn't work, and then you'd fall and you'd die, and it wouldn't be your fault. So I think for the health of the game, I think it's a positive change. Um, I'm sure there'll be some people that miss it. I think I'll probably miss it, but for the most part, it's a good idea, I think.
I won't miss
And
it.
no, I know you won't. It's not to say that it won't come back at some point, perhaps in sort of like an endgame encounter, like as a special feature to that fight. But for the most part, it's gone.
My biggest issue with it was not the fact they could fall off, but it was the fact that when I was clicking in my inventory, you could fall off, and that seems a little bit better now, as long as I'm clicking down here. So that's good.
Yeah, yeah, I've improved all that kind of thing. Like with the skill book as well, and like the passive trees. Whenever you've got like a big UI menu open, your movement will be disabled. Yeah, I could have it as a toggled setting. Um, that's an idea. I don't know how easy that would be to implement though, because they're sort of like invisible walls that you place into the game. Um, so to have it as a setting would be quite a bit of work, I think. I would
I think,
have to check, but I think it would be hard to do.
I think you should just pick one rule and stick to it and keep it uniform, since you are going to try to have a little bit of competition among players. But that's just my perspective.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I do try to include as many gameplay options as possible, though. So,
Right.
um,
Ooh, look at this. Is this a new chest? What? Sweet. Can it double open? No.
there's a delay on the stream, so I was like looking up at my monitor,
Oh,
being like, "What's he on about? He's just killing a troll." Then I realised,
the treasure chest looked new.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like a proper loot orb now.
Felt good to pop that orb and get some fat loots. But they can't reopen, because before there was like a delay, and if you could reopen some of the chests, it was like a little
Yeah,
thing you could do.
bug. No longer
No
fixed.
longer. That's all right. So let's see here. We talked a little bit about Kickstarter. I want to circle back to the Kickstarter. And so, did you reach any of your stretch goals or anything like that that you had set up?
No, we didn't reach stretch goals. It's kind of my fault in a sense. The base goal was really low because I'm using the marketplace for everything. I don't really need that much money in comparison to other games. Like I'm working by myself as well. I didn't like pay myself a wage from the Kickstarter or anything like that. So um, it was a relatively low amount of money. But then the um, stretch goals were quite a bit higher because that's when I went into like hiring artists and like that kind of thing. So that really like bumped the prices up. Um, but I'm not too bothered. I've got enough to work on the base game, and that's the important thing. And then beyond that, um, I'll still use like sales money and stuff and put that back into the game. So it's not to say those stretch goals will never be reached. Um, I mean, the thing is as well, like once the game takes off, because I'm getting more and more confident every day that it will take off to some extent.
It
But
will.
obviously, I
It
don't
will.
know what extent. But just because I've had so much positive feedback, I've kind of like got a bit of an ego now, you know, like.
And you succeeded
but
at Kickstarter. Like, that is just massive, man. That is massive. I can't express
uh,
it.
but yeah, like I will still put money into the game. Like I'm not interested in paying myself like extortionate wage or anything like that. As long as I've got food in the fridge and roof
Right.
over my head, like the rest is going into the game because I want it to be as good as it can be, and for that I need money. So
That's awesome. Before we get to Haxer's question here, I just want to keep talking about this. So, there's still a few special packages that people can buy if they want to support the game, right?
yeah,
On your Discord, they can go there. And is there different things you want to talk about with that, or?
yeah. So basically, I had limited tier options, and these are design packages. So you get like your key and all your Kickstarter cosmetics and stuff like that as well. But you can also design something with me. So it's like items, passives, skills, mercenaries, um, classes, all the way up to there's one option for this, and it's to design the first expansion with me. So that will be at a minimum, it will be a new storyline because every expansion I want there to be a different storyline, so you're not playing the same one over and over again. You can choose which one you prefer to level up in, and then obviously the end game's the same then. It'll be a new class because every expansion will have a new class. And then alongside that, will the items, enemies, skills, like absolutely everything to do with that expansion will be in your hands. Obviously, with all the designing aspects like there has to be some sort of limitation just for the sake of
Right.
balance. But like I'll guide people through that, and I'll set up all the documentation. We'll do it like properly, like voice chat and all that sort of stuff, or emails, whatever people prefer. Um, but I very much want people to have the sort of lead design role. I've actually already designed an item with someone that brought the item package, and that'll be coming into the game next patch. The first community designed item.
Ooh.
So that was cool. It was a super easy experience. I thought, oh, it's going to take a while here. We're going to be back and forth, but the guy knew exactly what he wanted. He presented it to me in an email. I was like, sure, sounds awesome. I mocked up a rough sort of like draft room with numbers and like the skill effect and stuff like that, the item effect. He was happy with it, so done, dusted. Obviously, some of the designs are going to take longer for like classes and skills and that kind of thing, but it's
That's
fine as long
awesome.
as
What
it takes.
is it? A relic? A unique? What are we talking here?
It's unique.
Awesome. I can't wait to see that. So we had a question here from Haxer. This dude he's really good at coming up with questions and ideas with the RPGs. I've talked to him. I think we talked on Twitter quite a bit. I think it's you anyway. So we're talking a little bit about immunities. Ruin the game for pure damage type builds. Wouldn't it be better to just have mobs take reduced damage instead of being fully immune, like maybe 90 to 95% reduced? What do you think about that?
Okay, so the reason I went with immunities is because I don't want the game to become a one button build, sort of ARPG, in which you find a damage skill and you just go nuts with it. You stack it out as much as possible, and then you've got one damage skill and you're running support skills on the rest of your slots. And all your items, all your gear, everything about your characters is funneled into this one skill. Um, that being said, there will be ways to play like that. So you could have partial damage conversion. So you're actually running a multi-damage threat build. With a passive tree as well, you can take keystones and you could have those keystones focused to a different element. So say for example your one button build is a meteor build. You could take cold keystones, so you're actually doing cold damage alongside your fire damage. Then you could convert your portion of your fire damage to lightning damage using the skill tree major nodes, so you become a triple threat. Or you could go the other way with it and just stack penetration, so you can break immunities. I don't think immunities as a concept are bad. I think the only time they become bad is when you don't have an answer to them. I think that's the same with most game design mechanics. So yeah, I like immunities. I dislike not having an answer to them, but I will always make sure you do have an answer to them. The only exception to this at the moment is Chaos Beast. The only way you can make a Chaos Beast more than just chaos damage is by using unique items, set items, or the passive trees. But this will be addressed when I add skill mastery trees, class mastery skill trees. So yeah, for the most part, not a problem.
So, for people that don't know, so there's currently 3 classes in the game, but each class can have a mastery, which unlocks a level 35, and you have 3 choices, and you can only pick one mastery. You can't double dip or do a hybrid or anything like that, which brings a lot of identity. But so you're telling me that some of those mastery skills are going to have their own skill trees as well?
Yeah, they all have their own skill trees.
That is awesome. That's such good news.
They
I
won't
didn't know
be
that.
as big as the base skill trees, because they already pack a lot of punch. They're already designed, so they kind of have multiple major nodes built into them. But they will have some form of skill tree, same as the universal skills.
Yeah. With that.
Yeah,
Wow.
since last time you played, I've changed the passive trees. So beforehand, you were tied to an element. So if you were going on the um, fire keystones, you would need fire skills to activate them. But now you can activate them with any damage type. There are a few exceptions to the rule. So, for example, there's a fire keystone that gives you a chance to burn enemies, and obviously that can only be activated with fire skills because you need fire damage to burn. But for the most part, you can activate keystones with any damage type.
It'll be nice. A little bit less claustrophobic, I guess, if that's the right word.
Yeah, it enables a lot more build diversity as well, which is always good. Because it was quite boring. It was kind of like if you're playing fire build, you grab the fire keystones. Now
Right.
it's kind of like you're playing a fire build, but where do you go? Like you have to think about it now.
I'm gonna have to look at that then. I didn't know about that change. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm so used
yeah,
to
it's
my
good
old
being back home.
ways. Yeah, you got done traveling, or you were with family or something, right? And just got back.
Yeah, we were visiting family in Wales during lockdown. Like 5.5 hour car drive, 6 hour car drive. Um, but got back 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So yeah.
No place like home, right?
No, no, she's here as well. We both came back.
Didn't leave her there. You weren't sick of her being quarantined all that time, and
No, no.
she's she's been your number one supporter, right? Through the game.
Number one fan.
She's listening, so you have to say that. Let's see what else we talk about with the game. I'm trying to get to 35 so we can get to these masteries and kind of check that out.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trek. You're only in Act 1. You lost your touch. I remember when you done Act 1 and Act 2 in like 40 minutes.
Oh yeah, I
What's
was a
happened?
speedrunner. Dude, it's harder now, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's definitely hard.
It's good. It's more balanced. You used to be able to just one-shot everything on the map.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's far from perfect in terms of balance. I've only actually done one proper balance pass, and that was the last patch. But yeah, I'll be focusing a lot on game balance this patch alongside the bug fixes and the quality of life stuff. So
One thing I did do on purpose was I skipped all the Blade Masters because I knew I'd probably die to those, so I just ran past them.
I've nerfed them a lot. They're nowhere near as bad as they was, but they can still give you a bit of trouble.
I feel like this is a bait. I feel like this is a bait. Trying to get me killed.
It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Go for it. So what other so I like to talk about systems in the game a lot. And I mean you can look when I hit this here, you can see all of these different systems. You've got I mean there's so much, dude. There's like the achievement store, Goblin's Gift, the collector. I don't know. What's your all-time favorite system? Let's go with that. Like what pick
Um,
one you're really proud of.
I really like skill trees. I think Last Epoch done such a good job with sort of innovating the ARPG genre with skill trees, but mine aren't very good yet. Um, so I don't think I'm not proud of them yet. I think I will be once they're fully done. And they got 8 nodes and the pinnacle nodes, and they're sort of like really fleshed out. Um, but as it stands currently, I think probably my passive tree. I think mine's quite unique. Obviously, passive trees have been around for forever, but I think a lot of the time they focus on stats, whereas mine's really sort of keystone centric. And I think that it just really opens up build diversity. Like a lot of, like Path of Exile, when you open up the passive tree, you think, wow, this is amazing. There's so much choice. But after you've been playing for a few years and you understand it really well, you'll always know there's an optimum route. Um, but with mine, there isn't an optimum route because it depends on what your build needs at any given time, what you're aiming for overall, what sort of items you've got, everything like that. Because it's so keystone centric, it's not just like a numbers game; it's a playstyle sort of thing, and that can never be optimized because it's down to the individual. So I'd say that's something that I'm proud of.
And then also on top of that, you have there's no respecs in the game. Your skill trees you can despec from, but right, they get reset to level one.
Yeah, you
But as
can
far
reset the
as
skill tree to level 1 and start again, but with the passive tree, the Goblins Gift, there's no class mastery. There's no respecs.
which is especially nice on that passive tree, so that you know if you want to go back and try something else, you know you can re-roll, and plus it gives that sense of commitment and planning, and
Yeah,
I like
exactly.
it.
It makes you attached to your character, I think. And also, I don't see re-rolling as a punishment because the story's so sort of like relaxed and fast to get through. It's not like you got to play through Grim Dawn again to get to endgame.
Right.
Like,
Oh man,
yeah,
don't remind me.
the story. The story's like, well, a guy in Discord, he done it in 2 hours, 42 minutes, I think, earlier today. So,
Not bad.
and that's all 4 rounds. So, yeah, it's really not bad at all. Well, I imagine people only get faster and faster.
Right.
The
I
thing is,
used to be better.
there's a shared stash, so you can give yourself like ridiculously strong items. There's no level requirements or stat requirements or anything like that. So, like, if you want to have your level 1 rolling around with level 60 gear,
A
you
world
you
map
go for it.
can be
You
used
blast
to
through that
fast travel
story.
to places you have already discovered.
Wow, look at this new map, dude. This is. Oh my gosh, they're even color coded by the level and oh my gosh, this is cool, dude. Good job.
Yeah, I want to work on that a bit more. I want to have sort of a marker to show where you are currently, and markers to show areas that you've discovered, and then ones that are undiscovered.
I
But
can go to the breach zones, dude. This is. Remember back in December, like one of my number one things was like the map. Like this just okay. I love this. Sorry, I kind of gushed a little bit there. That caught me off guard. I like this.
that's good. That's good. I'm glad.
Oh, dude, that is so freaking awesome to look at. Okay, there's something else. Were you saying something? I didn't interrupt you, did I? I just saw that and it was like, oh my gosh.
No, no. I was just saying that there's a few more things I want to do to it, just like add markers to show where you are, where you've been, like discovered and undiscovered zones.
Yeah, that'd
But
be nice.
yeah, for the most part, it's there.
Good touch. So I'm playing the Elementalist here, and it's been a while since I played, but I know we have some pet lovers in the chat that we were talking about pet builds actually yesterday on the stream. So the Elementalist has gotten some tweaks, right? With this big pet golem here that's been following me around. What's going on with him? A tank?
So that's Stony, your friendly golem. So I felt like Elementalist affinity was crap. So I think the biggest thing that the Elementalist was lacking was that it's basically a full-on ranged sort of class until you get to class masteries, and then you can sort of mix it up a little bit. So it's always good to have someone to sort of like take the aggro for you a little bit. So yeah, that's where Stony came in. But I didn't want to turn the Elementalist into a summoner, so to speak. So I felt like it was good that the bulk of his damage came from an aura that you kind of control by uh, the skills that you cast. So if you cast a lightning, he gets a lightning aura. If you cast a fire skill, he gets a fire aura. If you cast a cold skill, he gets a cold aura. So you control what he does. He does do a bit of physical damage as well with his attacks, so it makes you sort of like the potential to be a 4-threat build. So yeah, that's the story of Stony.
So it seems like if you want a real true pet summoner build, that's going to be saved for one of the classes that's not yet implemented. Is that right?
Demonologist. Hexlord can actually go full summoner as well with a class mastery. You can become a skeleton summoner. But Demonologist will be the true summoner, like right from the off with base skills and stuff like that. So the idea with the Demonologist is that you summon a whole host of like unearthly creatures, so like demons, for want of a better word. And then with these demons and abominations and zombies and stuff, you can mix. You're basically like a mixologist. Like you got your different drinks, and you mix them together to create cocktails. But instead of alcohol, you've got demons. So if I mix like a succubus and an imp together, I get like a fell demon or something like that. And yeah, you can just go nuts with this basically. Like there'll be so many different combinations. But there will be some hard imposed limits, obviously, like summon limits. But for the most part, you can really go to town with this and choose exactly what you want.
Well, that sounds sweet. When's that coming?
So I planned on releasing a new class once every sort of 3 patches. Um, I don't know exactly what order I'm going to do them in, because there's Warbringer, Demonologist, and Warden. I'd probably do a poll in Discord or something to that effect, so the community can decide. I know a lot of people are really hyped for Warbringer, and people that have bought the higher tiers on the Kickstarter, like the design skills, design passives, I know a lot of them are focused on the Warbringer class. So I wouldn't be surprised if that wins out over Demonologist. However, you never know. Yeah,
Right.
and still waiting on his Warden. There are a few people that are hyped for Warden as well, but it's the least requested class out of the 3, so I think that's probably going to be the one to come last, unfortunately.
Well, that's fine. I'm used to waiting. I'm used to waiting around. Because I'm trying to think, what else is there, like in the vein of a warden or a warrior type class? I mean, the closest you have is what, like the werebeast.
Yeah, there's not really. I mean, yeah, the only true there's 2 sort of like true melee options at the moment, and that's the Blade Dancer Spellblade class mastery and the Chaos Beast Hexlord class mastery. But as far as base classes go, there's nothing. Yes, Warbringer is the 2-handed wielding spin to win class.
We gotta have spin to win. That's a staple of the genre.
Oh, it's some sort of cyclone whirlwind sort of thing, haven't you? But yeah, with the Warbringer, I'm pulling it in quite a few different directions really, because its base class will be sort of kind of like your basic sort of barbarian kind of guy. Like your starting weapon will be a 2-hander. You'll have like a bunch of sort of like swings and smashes and stuff like that. But then with your class masteries, you can take it full on aggression, like dual wielding 2-handers, like going nuts with your whirlwind, like the berserker kind of playstyle. Then you can go sort of sword and board, so 1-hander and a shield. Play a lot more defensive. This would be like the true tank of the game. Not that I'm falling into that holy trinity too much, but sort of like if you want that defensive playstyle with like thorns, like a lot of roots and stuns and bleeds and sort of like the slower sort of calculated playstyle, then yeah, that'd be an option in class mastery. And then beyond that, you've got the banner lord, so it'd be a lot of like shouts and like placing your banners for like buffs and that kind of thing. So it'd be like if you want to use those base skills, but really enhance them and sort of make yourself kind of like an all-rounder. So you can sort of like, it's kind of like in Diablo 2 when you were playing when you're playing a barb and you were using it as a first character. You didn't know what items you were going to get, so you had to sort of play around that. Then this mastery would be kind of like that equivalency. So you're just using the base skills, and then depending on what items you find, you can go into different skill categories. It'd be the safest option because it won't be as gear dependent as the other two.
Sounds awesome. I'm excited for all these new classes.
Yeah, we'll do a quick overview of Warden as well, just so everyone doesn't think that I don't care about the Warden. It's just going to be a dumpster class. So the Warden's going to be kind of like a hunter from World of Warcraft. So you'll have like base. The base skills will be all bow based, pretty much. The really interesting thing about Warden is that you'll cover all 6 damage types. Basically, you'll enchant your arrows to do different things. So you have like a bleed arrow, like a burning arrow, a frost arrow, like a corruption arrow, a poison arrow, and then like a chain lightning arrow as your base skills. And then you also have like a summon wolf and a summon bear. So you can be kind of like a bit of a hybrid summoner, but not really. Just used as like sort of cannon fodder while you're at the back line. And then beyond that, with the class masteries, you'll be able to go full on like bow. So you can have like these massive like rain of arrows, bow attacks, that kind of thing. And then you'll also be able to go like a beast master, so you can summon snakes and like that kind of thing. You go really into the summon side of things, and then you can become more of like a support yourself. And then you can also go like a trapper, so you can lay down traps and then from the back line use your base bow skills. So on the frost arrow skill tree, for example, it'd be a lot of like slowing enemies down and freezing them in place, and then you let your traps deal the damage rather than trying to deal damage with your bow skills.
So that'll have to just do for pets then. It's not really a pet build, but it's like the closest I'm going to get for a while, sounds like.
Warden, yeah. Well, I think Demonologist will come out before Warden, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I died. Sad days. At least I'm not on hardcore.
No.
So Alpha, what's up, by the way, is pointing out a glitch that with Frost Tremors. So here you go. We're going to get it nerfed right here. It has collision with the wall, and it triggers it 4 times if you shoot it against the wall. I'm assuming that's a bug anyway.
No, I'm fine with shotgun. Clever use of game mechanics. Go for it.
Awesome.
I mean, it's not always going to be viable, depending on the situation you're in. But if you can find a situation like that and you can make it work, then go for it. I hated the fact that Pathflex sort of removed shotgunning. I think it was a silly decision to make, because it's just one of those things that enables a lot of different builds and stuff. Like if you can crank that AoE, you can crank that area of effect up so high that you can overlap these effects on explosions. You're obviously sacrificing something to gain that AoE, so I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. Yeah, it was fun to shotgun. It was not fun to be shotgun.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know how the mechanic works. Don't stand next to walls or trees and stuff. If you don't want to be shotgun, get away from them.
Love the Poe one-shots. Those are the best.
Yep.
I feel like my build is not very good right now. I haven't played in so long. That's my excuse I'm going to roll with.
No,
you mentioned
the thing
traps.
is, I fixed all the bugs that you used to exploit, so...
Yeah, that's going to be the issue here. And I'm not playing on the dev build, so I can't just cheat. Man, I gotta play legit. Yeah, you mentioned trap, so I threw on Fire Trap. Let's see if it's any good.
It is good, but it's a slow starter. It's one of those ones that requires a few major nodes to get going because its damage is weak to begin with. But there's residual XP, so just leave it on your bar and it'll level up, and then you can pump the skill tree and get some good major nodes on the go, and then it'll be good. Also, it scales with weapon damage, I believe, so you'll probably need to upgrade your weapon for it to be effective.
Yeah, I'm looking out for some iron legs, and we'll get to tier 2. I
Yeah.
saw a weapon drop earlier, dude. What's the weapons drop now?
Yeah, weapons drop now. It just seemed silly to me to put it off any longer. I've kept the crafted weapons, so there was no reason to not have weapons drop as well. It's just sort of like double dipping on the goodness.
You find legendary weapons too?
Yeah, common, magic, rare, and legendary. And there's even a set weapon in the game at the moment that drops from the orcs in the Phoenix map.
Huge change. I mean, that was a long time coming.
Yeah. Set items for the most. So the way it's going to work is that relics drop from bosses, set items drop from regular enemies in endgame, and then uniques are also from any enemy in endgame, but mostly come from crafting using relics. So you'll always have something to chase, basically,
Right.
alongside obviously the legendary drops as well.
And you can target farm as well. I saw someone on the Discord earlier was asking for a list of where items drop, and I know you specifically don't want to provide that. But I know that the community has came up with one.
Yeah, I'm all for the community doing it. Like I'm behind that 100%, and I help whenever I can in terms of like providing data tables and all that kind of thing. But I don't want to be sitting on Discord telling people where they should go farm.
Right.
Not because of any sort of like ethical reason or anything like that. Just I don't have time, and like if people ask, I feel obligated to respond, and then everyone does it, and then I before you know it, I haven't got any work done, and I've just sat on Discord telling people where they should go farm.
Right. And I noticed on the Discord you now have a community manager. Is this a buddy or like how'd you meet him?
So on Vulcan's Discord, he's the one of the community managers there.
Awesome.
And I kind of got to the point where I needed a bit of help because there was quite a big influx from Kickstarter, and just like setting up all the Kickstarter titles and the extra channels and stuff like that. I just reached out to him and asked if he could lend a hand, and he said yes. So there we go.
That'll help you out a little bit in that regard.
Yeah, it's been great. Good to get a bit of help.
What are we at? It's already been an hour. It feels like it's been like maybe 5 minutes.
It goes so fast, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was hoping that I would have masteries by this time, but apparently I've lost my touch.
Yeah, I don't think you'll be breaking any records today.
No. I need to sit down and figure it all out again and any changes.
I think the word you're looking for is get good.
Yeah. Well, hardcore only from now on.
Yeah, hardcore, no items. Off you go. Poison over only. It's the only viable skill.
So has there been any changes to the endgame modes, over the past few months, or is it still about the same, roughly?
About the same. Yeah, I haven't really done too much to them. I've balanced them out today, but that's not in this build. It'll be on the testing branch in about a week, so if you want to stream that, go for it. No new content, but they're all a lot more balanced in terms of like the XP you get and the currency you get and that kind of thing. So they're a lot more uniform. Someone on the Steam forums made a really good post today about the balance between different zones. He worked it all out like mathematically, broke down all the XP per hour and currency and all that kind of thing. So that was really good to see. But I will be adding more in-game content ready for the patch. I won't go overboard with it, but there'll be a full-on endless abyss, so you can grind to your heart's content. you're not blocked by me adding new floors. And there'll be an extra zone for each mode as well. So.
Then I assume more tiers and all that's just going to come later down the line.
Yeah. I'll stagger the tiers that I introduced. So for the first few patches, it'll probably go up to say like tier 5, then maybe up to sort of like tier 8 when we're like halfway through the beta, and then I'll save tier 10 until we're approaching full release.
I'm excited for that. Just more to grind, more to do.
Yeah.
Try shock.
Like I said earlier, there'll be about 1,000 zones plus Endless Abyss plus Crafting Dungeon by the time I'm done. So.
And you chose to make all the zones static, and none of them are procedurally generated. And that was a design choice, actually, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I feel like procedural generation of zones is sort of a trap. It makes the player think that there's more content than there is, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's kind of like once you've played it a while, like I don't think anyone plays like Diablo 3, for example, and when they're going through the Great Rest, just because this rock is to your left rather than to your right, it doesn't make you think you're in somewhere new and somewhere interesting. It doesn't grab you visually. And I think that's what environments should do. They should grab you visually, and if they don't, like it doesn't matter. You could be running through a corridor, like it makes no difference. So yeah, that's why I didn't fall into that sort of procedural generation trap.
That makes sense. I mean, with 1,000 maps, hopefully there's enough variety, right?
Yeah, you would think so, wouldn't you?
Right. So Dank brought up an idea, or I guess a question. So I know that golems have different elements, but is there one that's like better that has like different stats or?
No, so they all they have the same base stats that scale with your player level, and then the only thing that changes is the damage type. So.
Okay.
It's just whether or not fire, cold, or lightning is better in that situation. So if you're fighting a boss that's immune to fire, you obviously don't want it to be a fire golem, so you'll change it to cold or lightning, so it could actually deal damage. But that's all there is to it. No, it wasn't an eye roll. Never.
Sam doesn't sleep. That's the thing. He's a robot, so that's why. What is this? Use an entire mana pool to restore your health to full.
Looks like you could do that. You've been stuck on this map for a while. Are you hard stuck?
Yeah, I'm trapped. It's all geared. No, I'm trying to complete the quest, to be honest with you. I could just run through, but I want to get the XP from that. I don't want to be stuck having to grind.
Yeah, you've got Goblin's Gift, haven't you? You could use that.
I have any gold? I'm broke because I gambled it all in the auction house.
Ah.
Yeah, I've cornered now. I can get through it. I love the fact that there's items, or not items, weapons though.
Have you found one yet?
Yeah, I just had a few yellows in there.
Ah, cool. I didn't see.
Maybe
I'll see in a minute. There's a bit of a delay in there.
Poison damage, cold damage, eh.
Oh yeah, I see them now. They've just popped up for me.
Nice.
I might tweak the weapon icons to be 2x2 rather than 1x1, just so they're a bit more noticeable, and they look a bit strange. They look a bit squashed like that. Some of the two-handed weapons. So
yeah, that'll be a nice touch, just so you know for sure. What do I need? I need legs, iron legs. Big money. Oh, I won't get them either.
I think the borders help a lot now. Like the quality background on the items when you equip them.
Wait.
You having problems?
No, I was trying to see what you're talking. Oh, like the coloring, or there's an actual different border.
Oh yeah. You know, like the background when you equip an item. You've got the color coded background. Yeah, it used to just be it used to just be like a little flag in the corner.
Nice. And this is new, the Ami icon I noticed. I was like, is that an egg? When I first saw it. thought it was a golden egg.
Yeah, they're all new icons.
Keep going. I didn't get my legs.
Yeah. I've
Yeah,
gone
that's-
back and forth on the whole amulet slot thing, but they're meant to be jewelry slots, but it's so hard because like ideally I'd have sort of like I don't know like an amulet and a ring like joined together in some sort of weird thing so people know that you can put both amulets and rings in there.
right.
But it's bloody hard to convey what it's meant to be because like what do you put for a jewelry slot? Yeah, I know you bring it up all the time. It's
Well,
if you've got an idea.
all the Ammies make them all rings, and just they're only rings.
Yeah, I thought about doing that as well, but then I'm kind of like, what's the point?
Right.
It's just a visual thing. Like, deal with it, to be honest, at this point.
Let me go back to
it's,
my
it's,
cheese
some-
mode.
it's something I'll address at some point. It's just I don't have time for it at the moment. I've got bigger fish to fry.
Dank, he actually helped you out a little bit with some of the thinking of the mastery stuff back in the day, right?
Oh yeah, loads. Came up with a lot of good ideas for the expand the skill trees as well. Yeah. Yeah, still working on it.
Yeah, he's the idea guy. So we talked about stretch goals and stuff earlier, and I was talking about this earlier today on the stream that I wanted them to hear it from your mouth instead of mine. And it's multiplayer, so that's like a really long way out goal, but you have some really cool ideas around it.
Yeah, so it's not too bad. I mean, I wanted money behind me as a stretch goal. I wanted about 20,000 behind me for the multiplayer stretch goal, just in case I need to hire a dedicated programmer to get it up and running. But I'll definitely give it a go myself, and I think I'll be okay. I've looked into it and it's not too bad. So my idea with multiplayer is that we forgo the traditional ARPG system because, let's be honest, it's pretty crap. There's not much thought to it. You just group up. You're exactly the same as you always are. The best one of you, the fastest clearer, clears the map. Everyone else collects the loot, profit. Diablo 3 kind of done it a little bit different, where you have like these 0 DPS, like full-on CC bots, but even then it's kind of like it's boring. Like you're just playing against AI that does nothing because it's CC chained.
And you have to redo your whole build to cater to that too.
Yeah, there's that as well.
When your friends are online, you're trapped. So what are you doing to remedy that?
So I'm going for more of a MMO style, so Holy Trinity. So the idea is that it'll all be 5-man dungeons, and when you join a party, you'll be assigned a role, so tank, healer, or DPS. And this role will change how your skill behaves. So you've got Lightning Strike on the bar at the moment. If you were assigned a tank role, your Lightning Strike would maybe taunt enemies or root them or shock them or something like that. Something that's going to either draw aggro or make them weaker against your teammates. Then, if you were assigned a DPS role, then your Lightning Strike might electrocute every enemy around it or something like that. So you could be dealing this sort of like AoE chain damage while you're attacking, or it might make it a better single target skill. Just something that is going to enhance your DPS. And then if you're given the healer role, your Lightning Strike might chain bounce off of enemies. So you cast it at an enemy, it chains it off and finds the nearest ally and then heals them. So say you've got Warbringer with his sword and his shield up front, attacking that werecroc that you're fighting now, and then you use the Lightning Strike, it hits the werecroc and it bounces to the Warbringer and it heals him, or gives him a healing over time or something to that effect, or increases his defense, his resistance, just something that's going to beef him up a bit. And then in terms of items and loots and stuff, you'll have loot share, but only on items that drop. You won't be able to take items in and then put them on the floor for your friends to collect, because I don't want it to become sort of like a buy and selling system. I always want the game to remain solo self-found, because Otherwise, I have to balance loot around the fact that you're trading, and then you'll never be able to get the items that you actually want to drop. And I think it's really important in ARPGs you can actually find items that you want to use, not just find items that are valuable to sell. And then bosses are going to be sort of your classic MMO bosses, like the first time you fought like Onyxia in WoW, or like the first time you went in Naxxramas and you fought Patchwork, that kind of raid boss style encounter. I expect them to take sort of like 5 minutes to kill. You're going to have to really coordinate with your team. You're going to have to move as one, attack as one, that kind of thing. It won't just be a case of like deal as much damage as you can, kill them in 30 seconds, and move on. There'll be specifically to dungeons as well.
I think that just sounds so amazing. I've been playing this Blightbound game a bit, and they have kind of the role system you're talking about. I would love to see that on an actual ARPG. That'd be sick.
Yeah. I have high hopes for it, to be honest. I just hope that I can do it justice. But I think it'll be okay. Like in chat, said that I have to design each skill 4 times, one for each role and one for outside the game mode. But it's not too bad. In my eyes, it's kind of like just add another major node, but one that's permanently allocated if you have that role. So you still have your base skill and whatever nodes you've assigned to it. But then on top of that, you've just got this additional effect. So yeah, it honestly won't be too bad. That's the easy part behind it. The only thing that's sort of like giving me like pause and making me want to hold off is the multiplayer aspect of it, because I've never done it before. But there's so many things with this game that I've never even made a game before until I made this. So I think it'll be okay. And I've looked into it, and I'm going to use the Steam lobbies, basically the system that Grim Dawn uses. So it'll be a sort of player hosted, but not like old Diablo 2, like old school player hosted. So I really don't think it'll be too bad. So roles from chat, roles assigned by random or by choice. So they'll be assigned randomly to begin with, and then you'll have the option to choose to swap between party members, but they can either accept or decline. Because it'll be a system that enables you to play with friends or be match made into a party.
That's just going to be awesome. I hope that works out. And, for your first game, not a bad start, if you're asking me.
Getting there. So in chat, Haxel said, sounds good, but I don't like the idea of not being able to find items just to sell, because that makes finding that also item a second time feel bad, in my opinion, anyways. Yes, I agree to some extent. So regarding that, I'm probably going to have I know I'm going to have some form of charm system in the game at some point. If you open your inventory at the bottom, you'll see a big sort of empty panel, and that's where this charm system's going to go. So I'm in an hour in with this charm system about exactly what I'm going to do, but I think something that I'm 100% on is that you will sacrifice items to your charm system in order to level it up, and then as you level it up, you'll be able to sort of, kind of like in the skill tree where you pick nodes, it'll be kind of like that approach. So it might offer you the chance to do, say for example, you're playing on the Elementalist, you sacrifice items to your charm to give it experience, and then obviously the higher rarity the item is, the more XP it gains. And then you'll get to a certain point where it only accepts legendaries or only accepts relics or uniques, that kind of thing. And then when you level it up, it'll gain an inherent stat bonus, and then it'll also gain an effect. So, for example, when you get to stage 1, it might give you a 10% chance to burn, electrocute, and freeze enemies, regardless of what skill you're using. So your lightning strike can then burn and freeze enemies, as well as electrocuting them. And then as you get further and further in, it just basically enhances the natural traits of your class. So like a fully stacked out stage 10 charm might make your golem split into 3, so you've always got 1 fire, 1 lightning, 1 cold, something to that effect. So that's kind of my approach to recycling unwanted items. but in a meaningful way.
And so I'm assuming the charm system is going to be like an end game thing.
No, it'll be available from level 1.
That will be another nice line of progression. I can't wait for that.
I think it's always good to have these multiple sort of areas in which you're progressing. Someone brought it up earlier today, actually, and it was a really good point. When you're sort of like maxed out almost on a character, you still want to be able to log in and play and have that sort of like feeling that you've accomplished something. Like, say you're searching for that one item that you've got left to complete. You don't want to log on and feel like your time's been wasted. So I think it's good to have that sort of like that system that you can still chase.
Right. Have something to always be working towards.
Yeah. That sounds cool, but I do not think being able to. But I do think not being able to trade will be a huge turn off for old school ARPG players. One of the big reasons people hate D3. Yeah, maybe. We'll see how it goes. I mean, there's people on both sides of the fence for it. I mean, a lot of the flack that PoE gets is based around the trade system and the fact that it's a AH simulator really. You spend more time on PoE trade than you do actually playing the game, especially in the end game. So yeah, swings and roundabouts. You're never going to please everyone. So I just sort of pick my target audience, my solo self-found guys, and then just run with it and try and make it the best solo self-found sort of game that I can, really.
Right, yeah. I know I like finding my own items, for sure. Just release it, listen to the feedback, and see how it goes, right? Hope for the best. It could end up like, for the last 8 months, we've been able to fall off the map, and that's being changed after 8 months. I didn't think you would turn on that one.
Yeah.
That one's crazy. We already talked about that, but
yeah. I loved it. I still love it, but the people have spoken.
Oh, this game is so hard now. I love it. I need to actually think about my build.
What's Torchlight 3 like in terms of balance and difficulty and stuff? Because I know you've been playing tons of that.
Well, they have different difficulty settings, so you can choose to make it real easy or a nice challenge. I always play on the hardest. It's one of those that once you've played it and you've gotten used to the mechanics, that super hard, which I feel like is kind of common. So,
Yeah, especially in the Torchlight franchise, it's never been sort of a really hard
Hardcore.
sort of ARPG.
Right. Let's see, and I keep bouncing between skills too, because I'm trying them all, I guess. I like this one for the echo.
Yeah, Lightning Strike's a really solid choice. Once you get class mastery, kind of shifts a bit.
But
But
I'm only halfway there.
Lightning Orb's really good. Once you unlock that, it requires a bit of investment. It's not one of those skills that's really strong off the bat, but once you get there with it, it's good.
I gotta quit dying. That's all it is. It's like love D2 trading. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I agree. PoE trading sucks low. I love D2 trading, though. It was like a whole way of playing the game. Buying and selling is fun too. Yeah, buying and selling is fun too. I've had a lot of fun buying and selling in ARPGs. But it just is something you have to design the game around. And the way I see it is the choices are you allow the players to find items they're going to use for their build by balancing the drop rates around solo self-find, so grinding for the actual items yourself, or you balance it around trading. You can't do both, in my opinion, because if you do both, you'll have an overinflated market where you have loads of the same type of item because they're quite easy to find. Well, not easy in the sense of like you're gonna kill the boss once and you have it, but easy in the sense of like if you've got 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 100,000 people grinding this boss for 8 hours a day, like 10% of those people are going to end up having it. Then you've got a very overinflated market, which drags the prices down. So then, in order to get this item that should be super rare and super hard to get, it suddenly becomes easy to get and cheap. And then it just nullifies all the chase items that you put into the game. Or you go the other way with it and you make these items even rarer so that only 1% of the player base finds this item. Then it becomes super expensive, which we can see with like Headhunter and Path of Exile. It becomes super expensive. Only the top 1% of the player base ever actually gets this item. And it becomes a super chase item, which is great in some senses, but it kind of creates this massive community divide as well, and it makes it so that when you're playing a build and you're designing a build, you know that a lot of items aren't going to be available to you, so it really limits you and what you can achieve. And I don't like that sort of like limiting factor.
My golem died. How do I get it back? I have to probably go to a different map.
It'll come back if you change zone.
Gotcha. Does the pet scale with my gear at all, or is it just a set based on your level?
Player level inherently, but there'll be certain set items and uniques that are designed around your golem that allow it to have a portion of your stats, or gain an extra effect, that kind of thing. You will be able to focus your gear around your golem.
These death skulls, I'm gonna have nightmares about. I'm pretty sure they're new. I don't remember seeing them before.
Yeah, they're new. They're fun, aren't they?
They're real fun. I'll just put teleport on all my bar and just skip through the zone.
Pro tip for you. If you're running Lightning Strike, I would run Lightning Strike, Double Blink, and Double Mana Well, because your Lightning Strike doesn't use mana, so you can use your Mana Well as a massive health potion.
Should have had that. Oh, but these don't level up, do they?
What level up? The Universal Skills.
These don't level up, do they? The Mana Well and Blink.
Oh no, they don't level up. No, they will do when I add skill trees to them, but at the moment they don't.
Not able to equip Mana Well. Wonder if that's.
You can't equip it.
Oh well, we found a bug. That's all good though.
I'll add
it's
that
alpha.
To the list.
Let's see. I'm gonna go back with this guy. I want to level up Trap.
I have to reach over the camera to get to my mouse, so you'll just have a view of my beard now, up close.
Nice. I thought you could get this to cast on cursor. Yeah, that's what I want to get. Rock range. And then we'll go with Blink.
There we go.
Good shot of the ginger beard. Trying to think of what else, man. It's just there's so much new stuff, and we've talked about most of the game in the other interview with all the generic and basic questions, of what it is and all that. Which I'll have that link down below.
Yeah, it's fine. We can just watch you die.
Yeah, you can watch me die for the next 40 minutes. I need to reassess my entire build. What is this? There's all new art and icons on all these. Wait. The game, and I like you to know what you're doing. Yeah, big congrats on the Kickstarter, and Sam's like an OG with action RPGs.
Yeah, I've played them a bit.
What's your all-time favorite one? Diablo 2?
For nostalgia, yes. For practicality, in terms of like, if I had to pick one and play it all day, every day, probably not. I don't know. I want to say Grim Dawn because I think it's the best made ARPG in terms of like, I think everything about it is really, really well designed and really well thought out. I don't think there's any sort of like, I think they've made the game knowing exactly what they want from it. Whereas I feel like with Path of Exile, it's changed a lot over the years, which to me indicates they've kind of like followed the money to some extent. Not to say they're sellouts or anything like that, but they very much changed direction of the game and kind of gone in a way that I don't really like. A lot of the leagues are really hit and miss for me as well. I feel like they try and cater to both sort of like player groups, like the hardcore and the casuals, and they really shift their sort of play style depending on the league. Like they've got Farmville going on at the moment, and I just
It's so weird,
I
isn't it?
don't know what to make of that. If I could go back in time and play like Breach and Beyond and stuff and leagues like that, it would be Path of Exile. But yeah,
So what you're
I don't
saying is
know.
you can't pick just one.
Yeah, it's
That's a
so
fair
hard.
answer.
I think the biggest problem with ARPGs at the moment is they become so sort of like season focused. And Path of Exile are to blame for this really. Like it's not a genre that you play all day every day anymore like it used to be. It's kind of like you play for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, depending on how hardcore you are, how fast you get through the content. And then once you've done that, you go on to the next one and you play that season, and then you go back, and then you know, like you jump in between all these ARPGs. I kind of want to abolish that system a little bit. I hope that I'll have enough content and enough stuff going on to keep people in the game. Like I will have, yeah, I'm going to have leagues, but in between, like when a league starts to burn out, I'll have like events and mini races and stuff like that. And I hope that people will spend a lot more time invested in one character than they do in most ARPGs, because there is going to be so much content and it is going to be hard to reach max level. But there will be all these chase items and stuff that you can actually get rather than just being in the game, but you're never actually going to see. So you'll be able to keep playing and actually obtain those items, but it's going to be a grind to get there. So yeah, I do want to really focus on keeping people in the game, like
Yeah.
all the time, not just swapping between games.
I'm definitely guilty of swapping a lot.
Yeah, I mean everyone is at the moment. It's not the fault of the player; it's the fault of the devs. They just don't put enough longevity into the game at the moment. It's like get your quick fix and then move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Like there's not enough involved in leagues and seasons. Like look at Diablo 3's current season. All they done was add 3 on hit effects, basically randomized on hit effects, and that is their season. Like what's that all about? That probably took a day to do.
Yeah, I
I'm
haven't
not
played that for a
I'm
while.
not trying to like I'm not trying to like badmouth other devs or anything, but like as a player, I always thought, oh, this must be super hard. This must be super time consuming. That's why they can't put in like all this new stuff and stuff and that. But now that I'm doing it myself to some extent, like obviously I'm not on the same scale. I don't have the same workflow. I don't have like publishers and bosses and all that kind of stuff. So it's obviously not the fault of the individual dev that's working on the game, but the people to hold responsible are the publishers. It is the bosses, like the money men that control these decisions. But I don't know. It's just they could be given so much more into the game, and they're just not. So it's no wonder the player gets bored.
Yeah,
But
usually on Diablo 3, I haven't played for a few seasons, but usually it's like 2 days of the season. I'm like, yeah, I'm done.
yeah,
Definitely true.
yeah. I have high hopes for Last Epoch.
Yeah, did you see their end game thing they showed off?
Yeah, yeah, I did. It looks really good. I'm still not sure if it's going to be enough for me personally, because I am really like endgame centric. But I think it's a good start. They've kind of like they've almost gone like the Grim Dawn approach in some sense. They are quite story heavy. So I'm wondering if I don't know if like I don't follow games like I used to, like with the same sort of like intensity. So I don't know if they've mentioned this before, but do we know if they are story focused, if they're end game focused? Like, have they spoken about their design sort of philosophy?
As far as the end game being story driven, you mean, or
Just the game in general. Do they focus? Do they want to make the story sort of like a big like focal point, or are they like advertising themselves as like an end game ARPG?
you're asking the wrong dude? I don't pay attention to story. All I know about Last Epoch is you time travel. I do not care about lore in games. Like,
Yeah, yeah, I'm the same. Um,
I want combat stats and theory crafting and builds. That's all I want. Gear and loot.
I don't know
Seems like they
if
have a
their
story.
end systems are going to be enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
Last Epoch will have lots of end-game modes. What are they going to have? I know they've got their monolith and they've got the arena, but I didn't know what they were going to have beyond that.
Yeah, they're redoing the monolith, right? That was their whole thing this week that they announced.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it looks great and stuff, but it's not loads of content. It's kind of it's that procedural trap again.
Ideas. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, there is quite a few, but we don't know how they're all going to work. But yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I think they're good devs. They know what they're doing. Um, and the game's solid so far. Obviously, it's still beta, but that that excuse, for want of a better word, is kind of wearing thin a little bit now because they are really close to full release, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, I
So
hope
they
they get
are
multiplayer and soon.
pushing it close in terms of like showing in game. Because at the moment they haven't really shown anything in terms of actual in game content.
Yeah, I'm excited to go back when it comes out. Hopefully it's this week. Cause I didn't play. I took the whole last patch off.
Yeah.
2-in-1
Uh,
play.
it seems to be the general consensus so far. Like a lot of people are benching Last Epoch for a while because nothing really new has come along in a long time.
Right.
Like I know we stopped doing the challenges on your Discord, didn't we? Because
I
there
had to
wasn't
take
any
a break.
you
Yeah,
actually do.
had to take a break. I played way too much.
Yeah, I think something they really need to address, and they need to address it soon, is the fact they don't have chase items. Um, like yeah, they've got uniques, they've got sets, they've got all that sort of stuff, but none of them are real chase items.
Well, they're adding in tier. They're because they're crafting, like the affixes have tiers on them, right? They used to go up to 5 was the max,
Yeah.
but you could craft up to 5. It's hard to do, but you could do it. Those are no longer going to be craftable, but they're going to add tier 6 and 7, which I think that those are only as drops. So that's your chase items, getting those high tier
Oh,
affixes. That's you're going to get pretty lucky, I think.
they're only on regular items as well, aren't they?
Yeah, because like the uniques and sets are not like a focal point for that game.
Yeah.
Fun to chat with the ARPG OG. I don't know. I can't think of the right word right now, but yeah, rare. Yeah, because rares were just like, okay, another, So that'll add a lot more there.
Yeah, it's great to have rares as chase items. I agree. Like finding that like perfectly rolled sort of rare item or legendary in the case of Sanctum Breach, because instead of having like common magic rare, you got common magic rare legendary. But yeah, having that perfectly rolled item in terms of like on a base item is really cool. But I think the thing that I was trying to get at was with their sets and their uniques. Obviously, the idea with sets and uniques is that they change the way your build plays. And that perfectly rolled rare item isn't going to do that. Yeah, it's going to increase your stats and it looks really cool and it's a perfect item. It's great. Like it gets you excited that you found it. But with having good sets and good unique design, is that it should change the way your build plays. And I feel like with Last Epoch that doesn't actually happen at the moment. The sets and unique items they have, they're quite underwhelming. You can take them or leave them. And I don't mean that you should go to the other extent and make Diablo 3 sets and Diablo 3 unique, because that's a wrong way of doing it as well, because it makes it mandatory to have them, because they just increase the damage in your skill by like an insane flat amount. It doesn't actually change your playstyle too much. But I think the thing that I was trying to get at is that you should have interesting sets and interesting uniques.
Yeah, there's some really cool ones on Sanctum Breach. Like I just rolled 3 uniques. I got the chess piece that launches out the fireball. Love that one.
Yeah, I'm only scratching the surface of unique and set design at the moment myself. Like I would agree that mine are quite underwhelming as well, really, at the moment. But I know for myself that they are a big focus, and I will make them sort of like desirable chase items alongside, because obviously for people that don't know, in Sanctum Breach you can get 3 lots of the same affix on a legendary item, so you can get like 3 lots of health, 3 lots of defense, or 3 lots of crit chance, 3 lots of crit damage. So you will find these super chase sort of rare items as well alongside these interesting sets, uniques, and to a lesser extent relics. So I think it's good to cover both boxes. And at the moment, well, that seems to be quite a big thing with Last Epoch. They really hit the mark, but they don't hit the mark on everything. They hit the mark on some things. It's kind of like they're picking and choosing their battles, and they're not really covering all the bases. Like their story content is amazing, but then the end game lets them down. Their crafting is amazing, but their loot system lets them down. You know,
Yeah.
I hope I'm not being overly harsh.
Well,
It's just
hopefully that'll improve with
my
the
opinion.
change to
It's
the
more my opinion as a
teardrops.
player than as a dev.
Right. Hopefully that'll change with their tiers thing we were talking about. But so do you still get a
Yeah.
guaranteed legendary set when you pick your mastery on Sanctum Breach, or is that?
You get a set item when you pick a mastery. Yeah.
You get the whole set or just one item?
You get both pieces.
Nice.
It's a 2 set.
We have to dig into that.
I've spoken about it before. How I dislike having sort of like 5, 6 sets.
Right.
Set pieces.
Okay.
It completely destroys build diversity. So sets in Sanctum Breach will only ever be sort of 2 or 3 items, maybe 4, but very unlikely.
That was not a fart, but I could if you want. It's risky though. 3D.
Yeah, you might have to take a 5-minute break.
I'll have to take a 5-minute break. Whoever heard it dealt it. Yeah, I agree with the sets because like Chaos Bane, like all those others where you got it, like you have to have like 5, 6 slots are just occupied. I hate that. It's so claustrophobic.
It ruins build diversity as well because everyone ends up having the same items because you have to consume most of your slots with this one set that's best in slot because it just does an insane amount of extra damage.
Right, and it also hurts the value of loot because, like, oh, it's not that exact legendary piece I need. It's trash. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I think another big thing that ARPGs shy away from is gold sinks. And I don't understand why. I mean, when you get to endgame, the majority of items you don't even bother picking up off the floor. And it just seems crazy to me that in a loot-driven game, you're leaving loot behind. It doesn't seem logical. So I want to make sure that I've got ample sort of like golden item sinks in the game. So like feeding your items to your charm will be one example of that, or selling them for gold so you can buy items you need on the auction house, or like maxing out your goblin's gift. Yeah.
Yeah, the Goblin Gift's a huge one. It's what, like 188 or what was the exact number you need to max that thing out? Like,
I can't remember. I think it was like about 200,000 gold, something like that.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, it's a crazy amount. But on the charms that you talked about earlier, are they gonna have like a max level, or is it just like an infinite? Like maybe get some diminishing returns once you get so high or something.
I haven't fleshed it out entirely, but my initial sort of plan, I think, is to have it so that when you're first leveling up, you can feed it any item and it will gain XP. Then when you get so far in, it will stop accepting common items. When you get so far in, it will stop accepting magic, rare, legendary, all the way up till the only thing that it accepts is like uniques and set items. And then once you've fully maxed it out, you're done with it. But in order to fully max out, you have to feed it like hundreds of like sets and uniques, so it's going to take some doing. But when you do max it out, it's going to be like a massive um, effect on your character. That's something that I wanted to say as well. Like, I'm really for having sort of like visual effects. Like when you pick a class mastery, it changes the way you look, and now you adopt this new look, and that's like permanent. It changes your character model, and it's the same with skills as well. When you pick the pinnacle nodes on the skill tree, it'll have this massive visual effect alongside skill effect. Because oh, that was really well done, by the way. I just caught up on the video. Well, not the video, the stream. Yeah, it'll have a massive visual effect alongside the gameplay effect because I want people to feel like that sense of progression. Like I've got this skills level 20 now, it looks amazing. Um, It'll be the same with the charm as well. When you max that out, the effect that it has will be a massive visual effect alongside a big gameplay effect. I think not enough games in general, let alone ARPGs, do that anymore. There isn't that sort of like Dungeons and Dragons sort of I've gone from rags to riches kind of progression system anymore.
Right. You already have that a little bit with the mastery sets. Like they change your appearances and
Yeah,
aura or
yeah,
something, right?
but nowhere near to the extent that I want to have. It's almost like that mobile game gimmick that you get on like YouTube videos when you've got an ad and you see the sort of like level 1 like woman with like she's got the boobs and she stood there like in her bra and her underwear, and
And
then you
rags.
see her level 100 and she's got like glowing arms and wings and staffs and all that kind of thing. It's almost like that.
I
Like
love
you,
that. Yeah.
you see that visual progression.
And actually see it so that when we get multiplayer, you can look and be like, ah, they're a noob. Or
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
exactly. Like they've got their level 20 maxed out lightning strike, and they're lighting up the whole screen. And it looks awesome. And I've got my little.
right.
Yeah.
How are you doing, by the way, Eric? Have you heard of this game, Sanctum Breach? We just had a successful Kickstarter campaign, so we're doing a little celebration death chat with them.
All
Visual
sets have
progression.
large bonuses like D2. So if a set had 3 pieces but I had 2 on it, still get a small bonus. Or we'll need full set for bonus to unlock. Um, at the moment, it's only full bonus, and it might stay that way because it is just a few items. But I don't know. I haven't made a 3 set yet. I've only made 2 sets. I think when I make a 3 set, I might look into having partial bonuses, because it is a good idea to have. Will there be an item like in Diablo 3 that counts at any set? You mean like the Ring of Royal Grandeur? Um, no, no,
I was
I
gonna say,
don't like
please
it.
say no. Please
I
say
think
no.
I think it really diminishes sets because all that does is create an item that's universally best in slot, regardless of the build, regardless of the class. And I think that's a really dangerous game to play. I don't think you ever want to create an item that's so powerful that no other item has any chance of beating it, because yeah, it becomes this fantastic chase item, but it also you're just one step closer to that problem of every person's wearing exactly the same items. So yeah, I'd be really cautious of having any item like that.
You have the red items right now. What are they? Are they called relics?
Yeah.
They're really strong.
Yeah, I'm okay with sort of headhunters to some extent because okay, I'm okay with having these like really powerful best in slot items if they change the way the game plays. Like I think headhunter's kind of the exception to the rule with this sort of like you don't want there to be universally overpowered items because it really enables an entirely new sort of like play style. Um, but in an ideal world, I would make it so that that new playstyle wasn't inherently better than any other playstyle. So I would have the headhunters of the world, but they would be nerfed. So it was still a viable playstyle. It was still a super cool sort of chase unique that you wanted to get just so you could experience playing with it, for the fun of it, not necessarily because it was so much better than everything else.
Oh, I think this is like a. I don't think this is the actual boss. Well, mini boss. I'm scared. What have I gotten myself into?
Yeah, that's just a mini boss. Sorry, it takes a while to catch up.
I'm scared. I think we're doing all right though.
Just gonna grab a drink. 2 seconds.
All right. I love the meteor build. I always gravitate to it. Lazy man's build. Out of here. Chance man. Actually pretty good. Poisons enemies on hit. I don't know if that's good, even though I don't have poison in my build.
It'll work. It'll work regardless, I believe. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure with uniques like that, where it specifies that it does something, I think it skips over the usual rules in terms of the way that mechanics work.
So it should work, huh?
Yeah, just try it out. You'll soon see if it works or not.
Yeah, I think I have Mon. Probably gonna die
Maybe it
though.
doesn't work. You're welcome. I like ice builds as well.
Is it called Frozen Heart? Is that the mastery?
Yeah.
How'd you come up
It,
with that?
it takes a little while to get going, the cold build, because ideally you need, well, you don't have to, but ideally you need 2 skills in the mastery, so you have to get quite far into killing the Guardian, because there's a really cool skill that when you freeze enemies, it deals massive amounts of damage to them, but you kind of need to couple that with another class mastery skill in order for it to be truly effective. It's really endgame centric, the cold build, which is what you tend to find with cold builds anyway. They are normally like endgame sort of like content destroyers.
Almost like it sounds like almost like a shatter mechanic in a way.
Yeah.
Well, I'm scared because I don't have many charges on my potions. I'm gonna try to make it work though.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You got this.
I didn't. That last boss, I didn't know if I had it or not. That came down to the wire.
Yeah. You haven't really played properly since I added all the mini bosses and champions and
Yeah.
what's like all the other ones, elites.
Yeah, these green name bosses are new. Haven't seen any of those.
Yeah, I tried to add like a mini boss every zone, just so you've got sort of like a dangerous fight every zone that you're in.
Well, if I get stuck, I can go into the achievement store and buy some
They're really
passives.
chunking you, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm dead.
I was just watching your health then. It's like dropping down every time. What tree have you gone on? Are you on defensive or offensive?
Yeah, I went defensive. But I started to do fire, and then I quit using fire skills, so it messed. Oh, so it messed up
You don't
that
need to
plan.
do that. You don't need to do that anymore.
Oh, that's right.
The keystones are universal.
Right. So that was rough.
Yeah. You haven't even fought the boss yet, have you? Or have you? Got the stream delay.
Yeah, I died to the boss.
Oh, did you?
Sad days.
At least you got your potions now, though.
Steel gauntlet. So I can go. What is he? Chaos. So I can go into chaos resistance here. Help me out, and then my passives. See, I was trying to get thunder. I could go down here for the mana shield keystone. Just need 3 more. I wonder if I have enough points. Here. Just the right amount.
I don't recognize the item images anymore because obviously I changed them like a few days ago.
Yeah, I like that chest piece image. It looks sweet.
there's loads more items in the game since you played as well. The base items go all the way up to level 60, I think, whereas before they went up to like 35.
It was Trial of Chaos. Okay, let's go again. Yeah, someone was a 3D pixel. Someone was trying to talk me into doing a ice build today. I should have just stuck with that. But I wanted to try all the skills, see what's changed. So
Fire's really cool. I don't know if you like. I can't remember what it's called. In Diablo 3, you had a wizard skill where you released a series of explosions around you.
virus or something. I didn't really play mage. Wizard, whatever.
Does someone in chat? You pressed the button and then after a delay it done like 3 mini explosions and then you could like change it so it done like big explosions. There was like legendaries designed around it and stuff as well. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, there's one of the fire masteries is a skill like that.
Yeah, I was a witch doctor, and a barbarian pretty much the whole time. I didn't really play wizard.
Does this game have pets or companions? Yeah, you can become a full-on summoner. There's no dedicated summoner class in the game at the moment yet, but it'll be coming during beta, so over the course of the next few months. But you can become a summoner.
What's up, by the way, Dizzy? I was hoping you were here. I knew, because that's what I was talking about with the pet builds. This dude he has like a mini pet, kind of. He's more of just like a passive. He's been tanking stuff for me occasionally.
Yeah, the Elementalist just has a golem, but the Hexlord can become a full-on summoner when you pick your class masteries. Someone on Discord today showed me a screenshot and they had like 50 skeletons by following them, so that was pretty cool to see.
How was their game performance? Did it still maintain good frame rate, or?
Yeah, absolutely fine. They don't change in terms of performance.
Have you got any feedback on the pet AI? I know that's a hard thing to balance and tweak.
Yeah, I had a bit of feedback. So at the moment they've got collision enabled. It's small, but when you get sort of like 50 AI on your screen, it becomes a problem. But I'm not a summoner. I don't play summoners, so I don't really know what's good for a summoner. But basically, the feedback was to turn collision off, which I found really strange because then you're just running through the skeletons. But they said that that's the way it's handled. So
yeah, you need to do that. That's the best.
Yeah, I've disabled collision on summoners, and that will be in next patch. So you can play a full-on summoner, fill your screen, and just run through them and let them do whatever they want.
I will wait for that patch then to play that pet build. Yeah, body blocking's no fun.
No, I know it's not fun. I just didn't know what the sort of like gold standard was for handling them.
Fair enough.
I may buy this game next week. Yeah, go for it. You missed out on the Kickstarter. On Kickstarter, it was really cheap. It was like £8 instead of 10, so like 20% discount is not too bad, I suppose. But yeah, buy it now if you're going to buy it though, because next month it will go up in price when I release the beta. Maggots land D2 when you couldn't walk through your minions. Oh yeah, or you couldn't walk through your teammates as well. Like if you're in a party trying to do it, or your mercenary, that was not fun. You'd always send your assassin through just to clear it out with traps, and then just run after them, get your staff, and move on.
Scared. Bailing. I'm bailing. I don't want to lose my XP again.
It's so hard to get the word out. That was the hardest thing about Kickstarter. Just making people aware of it. I done a stream with Taki, and he said to me like, if I could change one thing about the Kickstarter, what would it be? And I said, making sure that I had money to bribe streamers to play my game.
I was talking about that last night. That was the number one issue you had was kind of marketing and promotions.
Yeah, it's been a consistent problem from the very start. Really, it's just it's so without a marketing budget, it's just so hard to get the word out about the game. Because I'm confident that there's a whole host of people out there that if they saw the game, they would like it. It's just getting the game to those people is the struggle, but it's moving in the right direction.
Right.
Um, there's more eyes on it now, and obviously, the more people know about it, they can tell their friends. Who can tell their friends. It just becomes a snowball effect. So
Yeah, we had it all over the Damage Crew Discord, so 3D Pixels, it's your own fault for missing it. I did all I could in my power with the small little community I have to help you out, and you got it, dude.
and
You did it. You succeeded a
yeah,
Kickstarter campaign.
yeah.
Oh my
It's
god!
like I said to you way back in the beginning, like at the start of Alpha. I said to you, you help me promote the game now because obviously you had like a way bigger community than I did at that point. I said to you, like, if you help me, I won't forget about you. When I've
Ah,
got my massive player base, will come
I
invade your
appreciate it.
stream.
There was something magical from the first time that I played. I don't know what it. I still to this day don't exactly know, but it was just like,
Me neither, because it was crap.
like I don't know how he saw anything in it. That's funny. Well, congratulations. Did you like call your grandma or like I mean, what'd you do when you first got funded? Like, what'd you do? I want to know how'd you celebrate?
Went and told my mum.
Did you call your
Yeah.
grandma? You called your grandma, didn't you?
No, I went and told my mum. Um, actually, no, it was funny because um, my girlfriend was in work at the time, and we were doing a countdown over the phone because she happened to go on a lunch break just as it was ending. Um, I had like 60 seconds left, and she phoned to say she was on lunch, so we were like counting down together over the phone.
Oh man,
Yeah,
I just can't even imagine it. The excitement and this is so awesome.
yeah, because it got funded sort of like we reached the goal just before we went to bed. But obviously, people can withdraw their pledges, so like I didn't really sleep much that night because I was just thinking like, oh, what if people withdraw and stuff. Like I was confident they wouldn't because I knew like some of the people that had pledged like at the towards the end sort of thing. Like I spoke to them on Discord and that. Um, like one of the guys right at the end pledged 600, so that really like secured it. Um, and he's in the Vulcan Discord.
Wow.
So, but yeah, it was still nerve wracking because all it takes is like a few people withdraw their big pledges and then it's all gone. So,
Yeah, that because I'm
but yeah,
always like convinced that people are just trolls. Like I'd be like they're just
yeah.
gonna troll me last minute.
I only had one person, um, and they didn't even withdraw their pledge; they just decreased it a bit. But yeah, I had a really good experience overall
So
in terms of like people pledging.
that's awesome. And now more people know about it, and they'll tell more people about it, and it's just gonna snowball from there.
Hopefully.
Oh, it will. How it works. Well, is there anything else we want to talk about? We're getting close here to the 2 hour mark. I know you got things to do in the morning. You're 6 hours ahead. I mean, it's a little late for you.
Yeah, yeah, 11 o'clock here. Um, no, I don't think so. I would see you get to class mastery, but you've been slacking a bit, and you say
I've
you're
been
a bit of a ways
slacking.
off.
I will probably wait for the next patch, and the pet mastery sounds really sweet to me, so I'm gonna wait for the collision to be gone.
Yeah, you'll have to go for Hexlord rather than Elementalist, but that's easy enough to do. So.
Yeah, Poison Nova
Well,
forever.
yeah. There's 3 classes in the base game at the moment, and then they each have 3 masteries, so 9 choices in terms of how you want to take your build at the moment. There's going to be 6 on full release. The next class is coming over the next few patches, and then a few patches after that I'll have another one, and then a few after that will be the final class.
Awesome.
So by the end, there'll be 18 in total, if you include the class masteries, which obviously you should, because they are like playing a completely different class.
Yeah, exactly. With the phase beast, especially. I mean, you get a whole transformation and pretty crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, all new skills as well. There's 8 skills on the Chaos Beast now. I don't know if was there 4 when you played or 8.
I think there was only 4 because it was like really early on.
Yeah, yeah. There's 8 now, and then the 4 on the tree as well. So you actually have 12 skills on Chaos Beast.
That was really early on when we showed that off. Well, thanks for your time and staying up super late and celebrating. Like I just can't say congratulations enough, and
Thank you.
so happy.
Yeah, yeah. It's taken some pressure off. That's for sure.
I bet. I bet. How do they take a
Right.
lot, or are you not allowed to tell us that information?
5%, and
Not
then
bad.
whatever the bank takes for processing fees.
It's not bad at all.
No, it's nothing compared to Steam's 30%. That's completely and utterly justified.
Crazy.
Mm. But what can you do? They have a monopoly.
Yep. Sell out to Epic, man. Let them control all your creative rights.
Right. I'll leave you here then, because I don't want to watch you die again. Just in
Alrighty,
case.
Sam. That was Sam Keats, developer of Sanctum Breach, indie ARPG. Make sure you guys do check it out on Steam. It has a free demo you can play. You can beat the whole story on the free demo. And it's a really low price. I think it's $11.99 on Steam. Make sure you guys do check it out. Thank you so much again, Sam, for your time and allowing us to get these insights. I hope you have a wonderful evening.
You too. See ya.
Bye-bye.